So the first couple days or the first little while going into France, um, it was kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie, because obviously I was on the Spanish side of the MTC. So when it came time for me to leave on the bus, I didn't know anybody. And so I was kind of just walking over there, by my lonesome, just trying to drag around my bags. Um, and I didn't know where to go, how to do anything. It was just, you just get on the bus, really. And I kind of just asked around, hey, where's all the French speakers? Like, where are they going? Everybody going to Paris. And it was weird because I was the first one on the bus, so I just watched everybody kind of like walk in, just sitting all kind of awkwardly. And I remember as we were leaving the MTC, all I could do was just stare at the mountains, because I had been to France before, and there's only very specific places in France where you can see mountains, but for the most part you don't see them. And being in Utah, you grow up around mountains, and I just remember staring at them and just thinking to myself, man, I'm gonna miss this so much. And then there was one of the sisters, Sister Stanford. She asked me, she's like, "Are you sad you're leaving the MTC?" And in my head, I'm just like, "No, I'm not sad about leaving the MTC. There's no way. Like, I've had 9 weeks of preservatives and food and everything like that. It's like, you know what? I'm good." I loved my experience in the MTC. Don't get me wrong. I loved it. I loved every second of it. But it does tend to drag on a little bit sometimes. And so when I left, I'm not gonna lie, I was actually pretty happy to kind of just get things rolling, because in the MTC you kind of feel like you're stationary after a certain amount of time. It's just like a routine. You just do this, and then it kind of feels like you're not really progressing in a sense after a while. But so we get on the plane. I slept probably the whole time on the plane. It was awesome. It was awesome. And then when I got there, so my brother, being that the fact that he was already there, and I knew that he was in the office, I knew that he was going to be picking me up from the airport. I knew, so I let everybody go in front of me when we walked out the doors. I let everybody go in front of me. Then what I was going to do is wait just a couple more minutes and then go out, just to kind of freak him out a little bit. And then, so I was the last one out of the gate, and I could see him. He was just going missionary to missionary, doing the traditional, oh, hey, welcome to France, like give him a hug and everything like that, kind of making him feel welcome. And then I kind of feel bad for Elder Taylor, but because Elder Taylor was the elder right before me coming out of the gate. And my brother finally sees me, skips him, and runs straight to me. I kind of feel bad for him, but it was a really good experience. I hadn't seen him in over a year and a half. And it was just really good to be able to see him and see him as a missionary who he had become through his experiences on his mission. And but it was really good just to be able to see him, and then got a really extremely warm welcome from the elders that came to pick us up. President gave us all a hug, one by one. He welcomed us to France. He did everything, I guess you could say, to just kind of calm your nerves a little bit. They gave us what they call pain au chocolat, and it's just a French, what is it? A French little, how do you say that? I guess you could say a roll with chocolate on the inside, and just to kind of calm our nerves. And then right, we dropped our bags off at the van, and then we just went straight into the metro, which is the subway down there. And so we went right there. We went in, and they were just like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go talk to people like on the train. And in my head, I was just like, what? Like, you're kidding, right? Like, I just got here, man. I just did an 11-hour plane ride. There's no freaking way I'm going to talk to anybody right now. I don't even remember how to speak French because I've been speaking Spanish for the last 9 weeks of my life. And it's just like, wah! So I'm not, needless to say, I guess I was just, I didn't talk to anybody, to be honest. I was really scared. And to the elders that went out and actually kind of overcame their fear and actually did that, I was extremely jealous of them. I'm not gonna lie, because there's a certain feeling that you get when you overcome your fears, and especially when it comes to talking with people, especially in another language as well. You feel more confident. You help them understand that you're there. You're just, I guess you could say, you're kind of there to learn from them, and essentially that's what I feel I did a lot of throughout my mission, is learning from the people I talk to. Because everybody in life has a different perspective, and different perspective on religion, different perspective on how you should live your life in general. And it was just really cool to be able to get a little bit of everything from every person that you talk to. And so, needless to say, on the metro, when we were going into the center of Paris from from the airport, I just talked to one of the other APs. I just talked to him the whole time, trying to avoid him from telling me to go talk to somebody. So I just like always bring up a conversation. It's kind of horrible, but hey, you know what? Everybody deals with their stuff their own way, right? And then so we get into the center of Paris. We come up and we go to the church in the center of Paris. It's called Sainte Marie, and so when we get there, they pair us all up with other missionaries, and from right then we get there, we get paired off, and then we leave again, and we go contacting. We go talk to people in the street, and no, I feel my whole experience in the first place, being the first time, I feel kind of bad about it because everybody that had to deal with me. But my first contacting experience, we were walking down the street and I'm just talking to the missionary. He's asking me like questions, like, oh, where are you from? Like, how's it going? How was your plane ride? Things like that. And then out of nowhere, I'm just like, I'm looking down, like answering his question, trying not to trip on the stone or whatever's on the ground. And then I look up and he's gone. I'm just like, and so I turn around and he's talking to somebody. He's just right there. I'm just like, are you for real right now? Like, what? And so I just kind of mosey on over, trying to like slip into the conversation, and then after we were done talking to him, we were just walking and he's just like, okay, this one's yours. And I go, I'm just like, yeah, no. And I just let him pass by. I did that about 3 or 4 times. And then he ends up just stopping a bunch of people. And being that we didn't have a lot of time, we went right back and just kind of, we just went right back to the church. And it was, so at the beginning of my mission, I was the biggest scaredy cat you could find when it came to talking to people. I don't know what it was, but and then let's see, and then from there they paired us with companions. After that we had, I think it was lunch, and then they paired us with companions, and it was interesting because so they had it split up, so all the new guys or all the new missionaries on one side, all the older missionaries are on the other, and it's, I don't know, it was interesting just to see, okay, well, who got paired up with who. And when I stood up to see my companion, I kind of knew, but kind of didn't. I had an idea of who it was, because there were, in the mission before, when I got there, there was 3 Spanish speakers, or 3 or 4, called Spanish speaking, and there was, I knew that my brother had talked to me a little bit about an elder Canonica who was a Spanish speaker, and he served with my brother in the office and everything like that. And so I kind of knew who it was going to be, but I definitely wasn't prepared for what kind of person he was. Being that everybody, obviously everybody's different. Everybody kind of has their own cliques and the way they do things. And being a new missionary, you go into the mission field and you're just like, no, we shouldn't do that. Like, we got to stick to the rules. Like, this is how it's set out. This is what's played. That's how we need to do it. And my trainer, he helped me understand that there's, how do you say it? I guess, and don't take this the wrong way, but I guess there's a time and a place for everything. And I learned that a lot on my mission as well, is the fact that the rules are extremely important to follow. This is very true. There are situations on the mission where you have to choose one rule over the other, in a sense. Okay, and so he kind of helped me understand that a little bit. The fact where, yeah, we have to be in by 9, or we have to be in by 9 or 9:30, but what's more important, is it being in by 9? Or is it getting that last contact on the street, and getting this person's number and giving them a Book of Mormon right at 8:58, and we talk to them for 15 minutes, if that makes any sense. And so you kind of you learn to prioritize certain aspects, and so there's certain aspects of the mission where you just need to understand what goes first and what takes priority over the other, and the importance as well. And so that's a lot of what you learn throughout the first transfer to your mission, is how I guess you could say how the curriculum works, because in the MTC you always have this idea. The schedule is always messed up anyways, because you have so many missionaries in the MTC. They all have to do exercise. They all have to, they all have to eat. They all have to, at all the different times of the day. And so your schedule is crazy anyways. But when you get into the mission field, you understand how to be able to fit things throughout the day, and to learn about how to prioritize your life. And that carries on forever, until after the mission, even, where you look at something and say, okay, well, I had this amount of time. What am I going to do in that amount of time before this next thing that I have going on? And so it's actually really cool. It's interesting to see.